Hello, all. I wanted to take a moment to unpack something that's been on my mind. And it brings up some issues that I've had before, that I've talked about before. And I'm a systems thinker, so I'm now seeing connections. And I don't want all these newfound woke, um, white anti-racist folks to miss the point, because whiteness thinks in binaries, and I really want to implore you to look deeper than the surface. You're very much surface thinkers, and again, this is not about your being, um, you know, um, not educated. You're ignorant, and that's by design, because the systems of white supremacy has indoctrinated all of us, and it has also made you the default. So I want to start there, and I also want to start the conversation that I'm having. You know me, I'm an external processor, so I need to process. I'm processing, unpacking this, but I'm not an expert on these topics. So if you want to go deeper into the specific things that I'm talking about, find those people who this is what they're experts in. So what I'm seeing a lot of conversations, as many of you are, about how, defunding the police, the abolition of prisons, and reparations. These are the three um, narratives, or the three agendas that I see being pushed a lot, or being talked about a lot right now. And they're not new issues, but I can tell you they're defunding the police is totally new to me. I never even thought of that as a concept. And when they talk about defunding the police, they just mean not giving all the fucking resources to people who are not qualified to deal with a lot of shit that the police are called for, and give that to social service agencies or whatever that are qualified. And when you talk about abolition of prisons, most people are talking about the complete removal or dismantling of a total the total prison complex or prison system. Um, and when you're talking about reparations, it's specifically about, for Black folks, it's about paying them for centuries of free labor that continues today. And yet, I need white people to understand these are not binary issues. And I even want people who are in these movements to understand where I'm coming from this. I'm not here to challenge your perspectives, because, again, you're experts in those things. What I want to make sure is the narrative is communicated, that without a, a focus or a foundation of understanding that all of this is to dismantle white supremacy, which means we need to address racism and anti-Blackness. These things, initiatives, are going to fall short, and they're going to come back to harm the most vulnerable. And the reason I want to unpack this, because this reminds me so much of the conversation I kept having about Medicare for all these people kept screaming about Medicare for all, and if you said if you didn't vote for Bernie Sanders, that meant for it was a binary. If you did not want to vote for Bernie Sanders or believe that he was the person to be the nominee, then that meant you were against Medicare for all. And I was like, okay, that is so very um, elementary. That's so very basic understanding. And yet I'm seeing similar things right now. So I'm giving you a warning. This is what I'm seeing. So when I'm seeing, and my challenge with the Bernie campaign with Medicare for All has always been, that is no longer providing medical insurance is no longer a progressive um, position. The average Democrat, labeling Democrat, believes that people should have health care. So that is no longer a progressive issue. A progressive issue for me is having an anti-racist candidate. And we don't have one. We don't have an anti-racist candidate. We had someone, and we continue. Biden is just now really talking about fundamentally about racism. But you have people who, I mean, I'm not going to say people, because you had Sanders, who everything that someone would talk about race, he would talk about class. This is the same thing I'm seeing right now. So let me go back. When I'm seeing defund the police, and from my understanding, it is not about the abolition of policing. It is about policing is rooted in this country in from a history of recapturing slaves, and that legacy is in that. And also, the police are not the best tools for dealing with many of the issues that they are called on. So, domestic disturbance, someone in a mental health crisis, someone who's abused, someone who's um, I'm trying to think of some other things, because I would say somebody's missing, but no, I think that would be the police. I'm still trying to figure out like all the different ways, but it's saying that the police aren't the best tool for dealing with a lot of the issues that they're called to deal with. So instead of putting all the money there, let's put the money in the services that are better equipped for that. And yet I have a problem with that, because if you don't talk about racism, if you don't have an anti-racist agenda, all you're going to do is fund organizations and systems that are still racist and anti-black. Because if you look at, let's look at the foster care system. Let's look at um, mental health systems. All of them are rooted in white supremacy. So we can't just say defund the police and give money to other organizations that are part of a racist system. So now I want to talk about what was the other one, was abolition of police. I mean, of prisons. There is going to be a challenge when you say just get rid of all prisons, because even if that wasn't even if that was accomplished, the replacement of whatever that is for, I won't even call it punishment, I'm going to say consequences to your behavior, whatever system these experts have come up with, if that new system is not rooted in anti-racism, you're just going to replicate it, and then the most vulnerable, black and brown people, are going to get caught up in whatever this new system is. The same thing with reparations, and I had this conversation before with people who are saying, just give us money, just give us money. If we don't address the systems, the financial systems, and the oppressive systems that created that exist today, what will happen is the U.S. will give black folks money. The systems are designed to take that same wealth out of our communities, as we've already seen. So they could hand us money. It's going to extract the wealth back into the system, and then we have no leg to stand on, because now once that happens, they're like, well, we gave you the money, that's what you asked for, so why are you complaining? We have to, these are not binary issues, and if we don't deal with and address that, every system that we come in contact with, be it economic, medical, educational, mental health, social services, all of it is rooted in white supremacy, racism, and anti-blackness. We have to deal with that. And so what I saw Kimberly Crenshaw on a morning talk show this morning, a news show, and it just made me think about intersectionality. And I know this is not how she uses the term, and yet I want to say, with all of these social justice issues, all of these issues, when we're looking at um, just like right now, this is one reason the Medicare for all was, is everything will solve all our problems is bullshit, because as we see right now with the pandemic, black and brown people, no matter what kind of insurance they already fucking have, are disproportionately impacted by this, because Medicare for all would not address the racist healthcare system. So when I talk about, so I need people to start thinking of the systems, and at the intersection has to be anti-racism, anti-racist work. So medical, education, um, policing, social services, mental health, inclusion and diversity, how we build businesses now. All of it right now needs to shift to a lens that intersects where in this are the levers of racism and white supremacy being pulled, and where can we dismantle that. And that's why I so appreciate the Powell memo that was created, written by, can't think of his first name right now, but in 1971 by the president of the Chamber of Commerce. It is a strategy, a conservative strategy, and there was one on the liberal side at the time too, and I can't think of the name of it, but it's a book. Cannot think of the name of it, but it speaks to conservative or Democrat, um, um, Republican, I mean, conservative, liberal, progressive, Democrat, or Republican. It's always been about enabling the systems of white supremacy to function on their own without actively pulling anything. So again, I just need you to understand and need you to think about, when we talk about these things, we talk about defunding the police, when we talk about getting rid of prisons, when we're talking about giving Black people reparations for the harm that this country and others who benefited from the labor of my ancestors, we need to talk about how we intersect that with anti-racist agendas and narratives, so that whatever new system replaces it does not replicate the harm that is already inherent in the systems that we have. So that's what I wanted to say. Um, yeah, I might dig into this some more, because this has really been sitting on my heart this morning. I've been up for hours and I have not been able to not think about this. So have a great day. Goodbye.